expectations were so lower.
Yeah.
And I was in the house on my own. I thought, you know what, it'll kill a couple of hours. I'll stick on World War Z. Really, really enjoyed it. I know what you mean. It does, but there's a lot of parts in it, Stuart. It's really scary, and not in a oh my god, there's a zombie, but in a what would you do?
Yeah, because
in
it's
that
so
situation,
hopeless.
what would you do? You know, and one of the things that I didn't like. Have you read the book, Stuart?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Have you read the book, Saxon?
No.
Right, the book is amazing, right? But it's written after the event. It's after the war, and it's this guy, and he's going around the world, and he's collecting stories and anecdotes about how different regions and countries survived and what they experienced when the zombie apocalypse came, basically. And it's not like that. Forget that. And in the book as well, it took a period of hours, if not days, to become a zombie. In this, as soon as you're bitten, you're a zombie.
Right.
Right? And I didn't like that because I've seen that in the trailer and I'd heard about it. I thought, that's not the book. It works really well in this.
Yeah.
It works really, really well in this. You know, the initial scene, Stuart, where it more or less opens in, I think it's in Philadelphia, because people thought it was the Battle of Yonkers, which isn't actually covered in the movie. The initial scene where they're in the car and the next thing, Bedlam just breaks out, I thought it was really, really effective.
Yeah.
You know,
it needed to have sort of like a scene like that to open up the film, because like you said, the book, out of a lot of movies that are an adaptation of a book, this is a really difficult one to do. And you hear that a lot, but this one is a very difficult one to do, because you might as well just say it's a collection of short stories, and it's a collection of a lot of short stories, not just a few, but a lot. So trying to turn that into a film is really hard, and for you to hook in your audience, you needed something big like that to open it up, because it did open up in blockbuster territory in the months when blockbuster films were released. So if you were going to have a movie where the budget's north of 100 million, then you're going to have a huge, massive scene to hook people into it. And it did that, but like I said, I think the last part of the film is the most effective.
Yeah, I really like that, and I love that it was basically cured in Wales. I love that. You know, I love that he flew all around the world. He was in Jerusalem, he was in New York, he was all over the place, but he went to Wales, and that's where the magic happened.
Well, that's where the Doctor was.
That's what.
With the help of Doctor Who.
Yes, with Peter Capaldi. You know, Stuart, there's a bit in it which I don't know if you remember, right? And I guess we can go into spoiler territory here because it's been out for a while and it's on DVD and Blu-ray and stuff now as well. So, but there's a bit in it which I loved, right? And it was at that bit that I thought, you know, I really, really like this movie. Do you remember the scene where they're caught in like the apartment block? And they're trying to get to the roof so the helicopter can come down and get them.
Yeah.
And you know, Brad Pitt, he says to the family, "Go! I'll keep them back." And he's fighting the zombies, and he's stabbing them, he's shooting them, he's beating them. And one of them sort of falls on top of him, and he's trying to get the zombie off him, and he's bleeding. The zombie's bleeding on him. He shoots the zombie, I think, and the zombie bleeds all over his face.
Lovely.
And you know, he's counting to himself 1, 2, 3. You know, he's counting. And the reason he's doing it is because he knows that within about 10 to 20 seconds you're infected. And he gets up and he runs out and he closes the door and he runs straight past the family. The family are all coming over to hug him. You know, you're alive. Yeah. And he runs straight past them. He runs right to the edge of the building and he stands on the very edge of the building on his tiptoes. And he's like 9, 10, 11. And I was like, why is he doing that? And of course it was because if he turned, he would have fallen.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really smart. I thought that was really, really good. And from that point on, I was hooked.
Because I've heard there's like scenes in it where he duct tapes magazines to his arms and stuff. You know, it's stuff that nobody else would ever think of doing in like a zombie movie. Because like, you know, I've heard so much about it, and I've heard people saying it's terrible, and I've heard people saying it's good.
It's certainly not terrible, Stuart. It's not terrible, right?
No, it's not.
I'm more and more willing to give it a chance, and the fact that you like it has just made me go, whoa, hang on, I think I've got some serious misconceptions about this movie.
Yeah, it's not a zombie movie. It's more about, and not in the same way that Walking Dead is, but it's more about if this happened,
how would you survive?
What do you do to fix it?
Right.
You know, it's not even survival. It's, you know, it's not, we don't need, because they sort of say survival's not enough. We need to stop this. Yeah. And it's kind of about that. You know, they're looking for patient zero. They're trying to find patient zero. And they kind of work out about halfway through, it's impossible to find patient zero. Yeah. And then he notices something that he has seen in a couple of different places and he works out why certain people are surviving. Right. And it goes from there. But it's, I really, really liked it. I have to say, anybody who says it was terrible, they're missing the point. It's a really, really good movie. Anyway, so Stuart, I wanted to get your opinion on it because I knew you would have seen it. Being a horror movie fan, it's not even a horror movie. It's very bloodless. Because I was shocked at the lack of blood. There's
Is there
no
not
gore.
An unrated, uncut version?
I don't know, Stuart, is there?
Yeah, the one which was released on Blu-ray and DVD is obviously to get people to buy it. It's too extreme to be shown in the cinema kind of thing, but it's not. I think it's only something like a couple of minutes of extra footage added into it anyway, so it's not that much.
It didn't need it. It didn't need the gore.
Yeah. Did you buy it?
No, I watched it on Blinkbox.
Oh, right, okay.
But it didn't need the gore. You know, it's like you think to yourself, a zombie movie with no gore, what's the point? Yeah. It doesn't need the gore. There's one bit, do you remember the bit where he cuts the girl's hand off?
Yeah.
Which was amazing, and it's gory.
Right.
But it's more real-world gore than zombies eating each other gore. Yeah. But no, I really, really liked it. Anybody listening to the show that hasn't seen it, I really recommend you give it a shot.
I really want to watch it now.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Right, Stuart, the UK Top 10 hasn't been an awful lot happening this week. Was it because people were afraid to go up against the only new release?
Yeah, pretty much.
Really?
There was 6 films in total released. 2 of them were Bollywood films, so technically 4 proper films, and 2 of them were documentaries. So there was only 2 proper films released in the cinema last week, and one of them was obviously Gravity. The other one, I can't remember the name of it. It was such a low budget movie, so they just did not want to go up against it.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's mad. Right, well, we'll talk about what the impact of it was on the top 10 afterwards, but let's get into it. Saxon.
At number 10, it's One Chance.
This is the Pol Pot's movie based on the winner of the first Britain's Got Talent. From what I've heard, James Corden's actually really good in this film. He's not much of a good actor. I think, personally,
really
I don't think he's a good actor. But he's actually really good in this. Sometimes that can happen, though. You think that an actor might not be good, and it's happened to... Look at Jim Carrey. Before he did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind or The Truman Show, if you said to people that Jim Carrey was going to be in a drama, you would have just laughed.
Actually, and then when I saw Cable Guy, I knew he could easily do drama, because Cable Guy's amazing.
I think with his drama, it is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind or The Truman Show. I think The Truman Show is his best film. Even though I do love his slapstick, over-the-top comedy, I think The Truman Show is his best film, is his strongest film. And you would never have thought that he would have been able to do something like that. And James Corden, I think if he's actually given the right direction, given the right director to show him what to do, then he should be able to get out a good acting role. And from what I've heard, he's actually pretty good in this film in One Chance. It's not going to do well over in the US at all, because I don't think very many people have heard of Pol Pot's the winner of Britain's Got Talent. But going out the chart, taking just over 2 million for his first main leading role in as an acting. Well done to him.
Right, fair play.
At number 9, it's Krrish III.
Yeah, this is the Bollywood film, which is a superhero movie. It's actually the highest grossing Bollywood film of the year so far. It's broken records in India. Superheroes seems to be the in thing at the moment. From what I've actually seen also, there is no musical numbers in this.
Which is surprising for a Bollywood movie.
And that's the rare thing for a Bollywood movie, because I know last week I said there is musical numbers, but once I went off the show last week, I did a little bit of research, and from what I could find, there's actually no musical numbers in this movie. So it piqued my interest a little bit more than, because I think musical numbers and superheroes, I don't think that would actually mix very well.
I don't know. Sounds great.
For some reason in my head, I've got Hugh Jackman singing, "I'm a Wolverine." At number 8, it's Ender's Game.
Yeah, a lot of people keep on referring this to Harry Potter meets Star Wars. I think you need to take the Star Wars element of it out of it, even because it is a science fiction film. The Star Wars element in it is just brief. I think it has more in common with Harry Potter, and it's trying to fill that role, because you've got a lot of films at the moment trying to fill the Twilight role. Beautiful Creatures was one of them, but that bombed at the box office, even though there's rumours there's going to be a second one. And I think this is there to sort of fill in the Harry Potter role. And it did a decent enough job of it. Asa Butterfield's really good in the film. He was fantastic in Hugo. And his character is very complex in the movie. He has to try and portray a character where he's not very angry, but at times he needs to push the anger out to be able to forward his character, and he needs to be able to release the emotions as well. It's a 12 year, but it's actually quite graphic for a 12 year. There are some scenes in the movie which you think to yourself, they really got away with that for a 12 year.
At number 7, it's Turbo.
would you actually believe that this is on the shortlist for the best animated? It's normally the case with the animated Oscars. Yeah, it's the 19 films on the shortlist, so that's not very much of a short list. But I think the Oscar panel do not know how to give awards to things like animated films or even horror movies. That's why you see a lack of horror movies at the Oscars. It's always the darlings of the Oscars. And when it comes to animated films, I think they just look there, see what's done well at the box office and throw them in the category. And Turbo did okay at the box office. And like you said, the animation is really nice. It's just there isn't anything there which latches you onto a really fun character in it.
At number 6, Jackass presents Bad Grandpa.
You said this might be a guilty pleasure. It might be a nightmare for me, but Andy, he was the one who reviewed this and saw this, and he found it to be actually morose and pretty bad, to be honest. The last part of the film is, you see it in the trailer, it's very much like the film Little Miss Sunshine at the pageant, which I actually found quite funny when I saw the trailer. And I was thinking to myself, I'm not going to wave through 80 minutes of a really bad movie just to watch something that I've seen in the trailer. I will eventually have to see this film because I'm the sucker who will have to review it on DVD, but I'm not looking forward to doing that.
It's not great. I mean, I love the Jackass movies themselves. I love the Jackass TV series because it is so random and so different. So for every bad skit, there's a good skit right around the corner that'll make you laugh. But with this movie, its biggest fault is the fact that it has a storyline. I mean, and it's a very bad storyline. It's very lazily patched together with these little insert scenes.
I had heard that, Stuart, you're saying about the climax of the movie is in the trailer.
Yeah.
I'd heard that the studio execs were raging because it wasn't meant to be in the trailer.
Yeah.
I don't know where was it. Was you told me that? I can't remember where I'd heard that.
But honestly, why was it in the trailer? Because that's supposed to be the movie's big payoff. And the thing is, had it not been in the trailer, yes, I would have been laughing my head off at that. But the fact that it's been spoiled by being in the trailer kind of takes away from the overall effect in the movie itself. At number 5, it's Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2.
Again, this is in the shortlist for Best Animated Oscar. I think this one deserves it more so than Turbo. It's a fun film. This is definitely for kids. This is a brilliant movie for kids. It fills the sort of like the criteria that Despicable Me 2 did. It's bright, it's colourful, there are funny moments in it, both for adults and kids, because that's the thing with an animated film. To make a U-rated movie is really difficult to do, to try and capture the audience that for kids and adults, because they have to realise it's not just kids who are going in to see the film. Parents have to take them. So the parents, if it's not entertaining for the parents, they're going to be bored. The kids are going to latch onto that, and they're not going to find the movie that interesting anyway. Mm-hmm. So to try and be able to do that with a U-rated film and add jokes in there, which is subtle jokes for adults, and they'll think, yeah, I'm going to get this, but my children aren't. And then there's colourful, bright characters like the Foodimals, where the kids are going to go, I want one of them.
Can you please do your Foodimals impression?
Mm-hmm.
Never gets tired. Never, ever gets tired. Right, anyway.
Moving on. At number 4, it's Captain Phillips.
Brilliantly directed, fantastically acted, very tense. Paul Greengrass really does know how to get the best out of his actors and how to shoot scenes properly. He's able to shoot action scenes with finesse, and he's able to shoot in small, confined areas and add extreme tension to that without it diluting. I think Barkat Abdi is sort of like the forerunner of Best Supporting Actor for me at the Oscars next year. I think it's a standout role for him. And I think it was smart that Paul Greengrass decided to take unknown actors to play the Somalian pirates and actual people from Somalia. So I think it was a good choice for him to actually do that. It's a brilliant film. I really enjoyed this film.
At number 3, it's Philomena, or Philomena, if you want to pronounce it correctly.
Yeah, I would actually pronounce it as Philomena as well. Again, it's a brilliantly acted film. There are a few problems with the movie. The fact that there's a montage scenes in the movie which dilutes the sort of like the end part where Philomena finally watches a movie about her son. And also, I think the music is misplaced in the movie itself. But again, Steve Coogan in a role which I never thought I'm not much of a fan of his. Yet, in playing Martin Sixsmith,